I see I was wrong to expect Retro's commitment to at least match our own.
Doesn't it? You there. What is your profession?
I'm a potter, sir.
And you, Arcadian, what is your profession?
Sculptor, sir.
Sculptor. Rewinders, what is your profession? You see, old friend, I brought more support than you did to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Retro systems online. Reflux capacitor fluxing. Scanning room space-time for 300, 2006. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the master interrupter, PaulJPowers.com Powers.
Hey, Francisco, I can't believe it. It's the 300th episode. Congratulations on 300.
Congratulations to you too, Paul. You've made it this far. Though I think technically we haven't been on 300 episodes. Or maybe
yes,
you
we
have.
We have. Well, check the records.
Yeah,
Some are
exactly.
missing, but they've been recorded. I don't know where they are.
Indeed. But also for this awesome discussion for the film 300, we welcome back aboard chief artist, or maybe he's a sculptor now, Colin Schlicht. Hey, Colin.
Gentlemen, we shall pod in the shade.
we shall. Exactly.
Hey, congrats on 300 episodes, man.
Thank you so much, Colin.
And
Thank you.
It's honored to be on and chat about a killer movie, too.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
And
or is it killer? You never know.
You never
we have yet to discuss it.
Oh, my goodness. And in addition, we have back aboard, in addition to Colin, we have back aboard communications chief of the pod, Ken Cummings. Hey, Ken.
Hey, thanks for having me here. Appreciate it.
Of course. And Ken.
It's like 300.
Yes.
So congratulations, guys.
Thank you. And congratulations to you, Ken, because this is your 10th time on the podcast.
Holy
So you are now promoted to communications
XO?
officer, not XO.
Oh, good.
Me and Paul have to die to get our ranks removed. But congratulations. Yeah, thanks for being on
Officer, huh?
both of you being on so long. I think, Colin, you're also close to a promotion.
Do I sit in the officer's mess now? You have food with you guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Man.
Yeah, it's
you
all
don't have
schwanky.
to sit with Colin anymore if you don't want.
All right, those scrubs. Whew. Yeah. Okay.
But now that you have a
blame
quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for 300?
Oh, yeah, sure. All right. The best of Spartan cheerleaders from Saturday Night Live, starring Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry.
Is this really for real?
No, it's not for real, because this is Paul's bit.
What?
300?
I mean, you must be confused, Paul.
Because we're covering the Spartans.
No, and we're not covering Meet the Spartans or 300 Rise of the Empire. So just get those out of your system right now. We're covering 300 from the year 2006 by Zack Snyder, starring Gerard Butler.
Oh, because it's our 300th episode. That makes a lot more sense.
Really?
Okay.
That could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
But fine, I'll go back. All right. Let's see. 300 or 300 was released March 9th, 2007, runs an hour and 57 minutes, and is rated R. It's directed by Zack Snyder and written by Zack Snyder, Kirk Johnstad, and Michael B. Jordan.
Gordon.
Wow. Oh, so it's not the
That would be
actor.
amazing, man.
No.
Okay, so Michael B. Gordon. It was also taken from the graphic novel by
Frank
what's
Miller.
his name? Yeah, Frank Miller. I'm surprised he doesn't have a writing credit.
Yeah.
All right. Lead stars being Gerard Butler, Lena Headey, David Wenham, and a bunch of people you may or may not recognize. When the music was composed by Tyler Bates.
Indeed it was.
You ready for the box office trivia?
I am ready. Ken and Colin, are you guys ready?
Let's do this.
Awesome. And everyone in chat, Dale, Kirk, Pirate, you guys are welcome to join as well. Go for it, Paul.
Okay, the movie 300 was made for about $60 million. That's 60.
Okay.
And it earned over $450 million at the box office.
Wowza. Okay.
So given this fact, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 2007 or 6, depending on when the movie came out, depending on my notes if they're right or right?
Yeah, no, I'm noticing that now. That's weird, but whatever.
2007.
Yeah.
Sorry.
7?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll go for the top 300.
All right. Let's start with Ken. What's your guess for where 300 ranked in the top 300 movies of 2007?
I'm going to say number 7.
Number 7. Okay. Respectable. Colin, what's your guess?
I'll say, let's go number 3.
That was going to be my guess. Fine, Colin.
Or 30.
No, you can do 3. Let's see. Then Rushmore also guesses 3. Dale guesses 20. Bobo guesses 6. Bobo, I hope it's not 42 because
I don't think it's 42. I thought of that, but no, it's not 42.
I'm going to guess not 300. That's way too low. I'm going to guess I'm going to Price is Right Colin with 4, I guess. All right.
Yeah, you did.
Paul, where did it end up?
All right. According to the-numbers.com, the movie 300 came in at number 10.
10 was going to be my next guess. Dang it. I should have gone with that. I thought that was too low, though.
Yeah.
But number 10. Okay, so that means Ken was the closest. Good job, Ken.
Nice job, Ken.
Does that mean I get whipped cream on my pumpkin pie tonight?
No, it means you get to stand out in front of the enemy first.
Exactly.
There you go. And the red-shirted
red shirt Spartan, exactly.
It's pretty wild that we had Iron Man and The Dark Knight come out like the next year.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Craziness.
is wild. And it started the MCU and then
Mhm.
Dark Knight. Fun factoid there.
Simpler times. Well, thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice is located, our target film.
Alert. Alert. Target located. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
1,000 nations of the Persian Empire descend upon you. Spartans, lay down your weapons! Come and get them! Give them nothing, but take from them everything! No mercy! The victory!
Crazy. No, like, we'll be in theaters or check your local school listings or anything. I could have sworn I remember that stuff. But regardless, let's see what we collectively remembered about the movie 300 in our memory mind meld synopsis. Do you know that nice story in the Bible about how Esther wins the heart of the king? Well, that king is the big bad villain in this movie, but Xerxes isn't going to listen to Esther anymore. And now he loves his gold and looking very flamboyant and wants control of Sparta. But his messenger's madness is pit-eed. You remember Rocky and Emily, right? You know, from Three Ninjas? Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves Emily. What does that have to do with anything? Well, do you remember when Emily said it was okay to beat up the bullies at the end? It's the same vibe when Leonidas' wife tells him to straight up murder the messenger by kicking him into the well for not being smart enough. This is Sparta! After an onion sex scene, the Phantom of the Opera, decides he can't have Olympus fallen and whispers, P.S. I love you to his queen before marching off to glory and battle alongside 300 of his beloved slow motion and CGI specs Spartan warriors. To thermometer! Tonight we dine in hell. Can we say that on this? I'm sorry, in double HE double
It's
hockey
a quote.
sticks.
You can say it, dude.
Too bad Zack Snyder didn't make Superman like King Leo, and everyone dies except for Faramir. Wow. I mean, the whole Three Ninjas thing just shows me more and more how much Paul secretly loves that movie.
I do not.
But unfortunately, that was decepted. But based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what rating did they lead you to predict for 300 before you rewatched it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? I'm going to start with Colin this time. What was your prediction for 300?
I predicted classic for this one.
Classic, all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go.
I was
go for
going to chit chat a little bit about it. I first saw it in the theaters when I worked there at one of the theaters that I worked at called Rave.
Okay.
Over here in Texas, Frisco area.
Okay.
I think I saw it in 3D.
Oh,
too.
cool. Okay.
Possibly. I can't remember. Either way, it rocked. Then, and do I still think so now? We'll have to see.
I guess we'll find out. But okay, you remember liking it. Ken, did you work at the Rave also?
No.
Have you been to a rave?
And would you remember if you did?
2006, my oldest daughter graduated from high school, so odds are I watched it on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a classic because I remember, oh my gosh, it's a classic, right? I mean, everything about it. Of course, this is what gave Zack Snyder the green light to do bad movies for DC.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
Poor
okay.
Zach.
And Paul, what was your prediction?
I saw it in the theaters, and I there were parts of it I liked, but I didn't care for it that much. So I predicted nostalgic.
Nostalgic. Apparently, I'm on the Ken and Colin team this time because I predicted classic as well. I remember really liking this movie, looking forward to covering it again. But you know what? Maybe after a rewatch, it didn't hold up. But we'll get into all that here soon. But before we get to dislikes and fire ratings, we've got to talk about the things we liked most about 300. So Alice, spin up our
Best bits.
And
Sounds like Alice is back.
Yeah, Alice is back.
Indeed, Alice is back.
Where's Travis?
I didn't get the memo.
Is he in Thunder Road 3?
Yeah, he's there in case something else happens to the new pod
good.
that we're on.
Now that I'm an officer, I'll hear more of the latest news. I guess just being like crew member, hear nothing. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yes.
Bad management. We're gonna fix it.
Called to task by my crew here. If only. Ken, what's something you liked about 300?
I had to say the speeches. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of the things where all the speeches are like basically classic memes and whatnot. You know, Leonidas, the Queen, everything about it, right? I mean, it's like sounds kind of. I like the word he was pitied, but this is Sparta. It's like okay, yeah, right. You know, but it was just the classic speeches.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They are awesome. Colin, was that something that made your like list as well?
Yeah, in a way, but I mean, I could talk about something else here.
Yeah,
real
yeah.
quick too.
What's something else you enjoyed?
Yeah, I just really like the visual style, and that kind of goes hand in hand. I kind of got a twofer with this one here. So,
okay.
Zack Snyder's visual style, and then I liked the Leonidas Warner. You know, it's that first one
where he charges out in the field.
Yeah, where he charges out there, and and it sticks with them for a long time out on the battlefield. It's just so cool looking, and I just love the overall like look of the film, the sepia tone, the heavy film grain. That high contrast is really just compelling to look at. There is a lot of slow-mo that's kind of become a Zack Snyderism, you know, and he kind of relies on that quite a bit. But in this, actually, it really works well to me. It's just fun to look at. But yeah, the Warner is just like a rewatchable all-timer to me. I love that mix of slow and fast motion and how it combines with the music and then the sound effects and everything. It's just really effective. And, you know, as an illustrator or as the ship's lowly peon artist guy that gets no information about updates or Alice.
Oh my gosh. See what you started, Ken?
Like as an illustrator, I'm kind of I'm drawn to like basically like
he's drawn to.
Get it?
I got
See what
that
I'm
too,
saying
yes.
here? Left to right, like horizontal compositions, basically in action. You know, I kind of throw that in a lot of my work. And
I was about to say it's
seeing this-
reflected in your work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm drawn to it. I just think it's a cool graphic approach, and it's just kind of right in my visual sweet spot.
Yeah.
So what do you think of like the Japanese manga when it goes the other way? Does that go against your grain as an artist?
I mean, I had the complete opposite reaction to it since it goes a different direction.
Because it's the opposite.
No,
Wow.
no, I enjoy anime as well too. But yeah,
So-
this is just really cool to look at and just really exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off that here in a second, but I'm curious if this is just sort of something that I've just sort of speculated on. I'm not sure how true it is. Maybe you guys know, or any of you awesome rewinders know. I often think that the whole reason we have these like super widescreen, is it CinemaScope that's 2.35 to 1 or something like that? Just
Close
really
enough.
wide shot, like wide theater screens and whatnot, is because our eyes are horizontal side by side as opposed to like vertical side by side. Like
You mean horizontal?
what did I say? Yeah, our eyes are on a horizontal plane as opposed to
There
a
you go.
vertical plane.
There you go.
So
It's very true.
if I'm curious if that's why, like we see more in terms of periphery to the sides, I think, than up and
Yes.
down. So
Yes,
I wonder if that's
100%
why we can take in so much more on the horizontally wide screen as opposed to if it were like a vertically wide screen. But
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
And just
absolutely.
imagine if God created you like a bird so that your eyes were like on the side of your head more so that you could even take a wider view.
Or like an owl, you could turn your head all the way around.
Oh,
Almost.
then it's a 360 cinescope.
Yeah. That'd be
it's great for that
crazy.
OmniMax. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But I will, going back to the visuals of this movie specifically, not all movies. I also really enjoyed I thought it was so interesting that, and it's the Zack Snyderism, but he was able to go from this like fast to slow-mo, in and out without me sort of losing track of what was going on, which I think that's a feat in of itself, because having this, especially like if you go with like a Born Identity, I know is popularized shaky cam for a bit there. I don't know who I was looking at or what exactly. I know they were fighting, but that's about it.
That's how you can believe Matt Damon can beat those people.
But I think with this, there's a lot of action going on, but I can tell. I know who I'm supposed to be focusing on and where Leonidas is and all that. So I thought that was really, really amazing.
Yeah, they don't shy away from it, and that's the thing is you've never really seen anything like it before. It's become again one of those kind of things that Snyder likes to return to or whatever. But back in the day, you've never really seen anything like it.
Yeah. It's like
Pretty innovative.
It was. I wouldn't say it was more groundbreaking than like the visuals of The Matrix, but it was like certainly a lateral as a different, great looking in a different way. So yeah.
Yeah, The Matrix, what was it? The Matrix walks so 300 could jam a spear into somebody's chest.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's,
Yeah.
I think I should put that in my quote book. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Paul, why don't you quote for us something you liked about this movie?
Going to the story element, this movie is a great reminder that freedom isn't free. And that topic is
sorely missed these days.
I was going to say probably not talked about as much as it should be, but and this is a great film to reintroduce that topic.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. Yes.
But yeah, you're on the right track, Francisco.
Ken, keep us on that right track with something else you liked.
So I wrote down. I was always amazed. I mean, they had the scenes of the wheat fields.
Yeah,
in contrast with the wars. You know, farmers.
Remind me of Gladiator too. Those fields. I don't know if that's just a Mediterranean thing, but yeah. Continue, please.
Well, it was the counterpoint, because if they were just all fighters, they wouldn't be able to survive, right? They clearly had to be other things. I mean, I know that the Romans. The whole point of the Romans was that you had to own land in order to be actually in the legions. Okay. And that was originally, of course, it changed that over the years, right? But I just thought the contrast of seeing these glowing, beautiful wheat fields and them going through it with their soldiers. It's like, it's part of their life. You know, they had to be both, really. You know, that's all.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, love it.
So just the contrast of seeing both parts of it essentially.
The way they did it. I mean, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let's go to Colin again. What's something else you enjoyed?
I love The Last Stand against Xerxes.
Yes.
That at the end, it's just that starting with that like slow zoom on Leonidas, in front of his troops,
all the way up to his eyes.
Up to very like Spielbergian that shot right there. Like, Spielberg likes to do that in quite a bit of his films. It's one of my favorite things that he does. And and I just love the setup to it.
Yes.
Like the narrator, like his helmet was stifling, and then the payoff, it narrowed his vision because he must see far.
Yes.
And I just think it's so excellent, and the narration works beautifully here and throughout the film. Frankly, it's just the narration rules, and it's got that graphic novel vibe. Obviously, it's inspired by Miller's. Shout out Frank Miller, his graphic novel. So that it all tying together like that is just beautifully orchestrated. To me.
It's almost like I can see the solo blue or yellow box in the corner of the frame that has the narration.
Seriously.
But that was my next like as well. It was the narration that David Wenham does. I just love the flair he gives, and I especially love that Leonidas recognizes that about him, that he's the one that can. I love that he has a heart that he wants to stand fight with his brothers there. But that this is a unique gift that he has to go and make their case and tell their story. So and I love.
Great note. That's really good, and I love his character too. He's like, the Leonidas is just a scratch, right? And he's like, it's just an eye, sir.
The gods gifted me with a spare.
I had to read some history. That character did go home like that, right? He was counted to be a coward. They thought that he was a coward, but when they actually had to fight, when they actually went off to fight the Persians again, give more time, they respected him for, he is a courageous fighter.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I didn't know that.
I spent a year being called a coward for leaving them all behind.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I would, man. And just that bond that they have too, that would be so tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that leaves one more from Paul before I get to our classic makers.
And that's basically, you mentioned like like he responded, that's why the Lord sought to give me two eyes, so I have a spare. I love the trash talk and the taunting throughout the whole film. It's peppered throughout, and it just some of it's arrogance, but a lot of it's just fun,
especially Attilios, I think, and Magneto, they have this back and forth. Young Magneto, excuse me. Not Ian McKellen Magneto, other guy. But continue, Paul, sorry.
But and apparently some of that was supposedly taken from the actual standoff with the Spartans that they wrote, like throw down your weapons, and the response was, if you want them, come and get them. And there's a couple other ones like that that we will fight in the shade.
That cool save General X just mentioned. Yeah, exactly.
Those are fun.
And that's pretty much my classic maker, is the dialogue this. I enjoyed it so much from the narration, which was just so poetic in a way, and just felt like an epic poem. And also the little quips, especially like some of the ones that stick out were, we already did the blow, the sun will find the shade, but also Leonidas saying to Xerxes, slaughtering all your men has left a nasty cramp in my thigh, so kneeling will have to wait. And you just see Xerxes burning with like fuming at that comment, just stuff like that. It was just, I loved it so much. So
and it helps you really bond with the characters. It really helps you get involved, so you really care about like what happens to them. They're not just kind of a number.
Exactly.
You care about what their calling is.
And let's see. I'm just make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself with anything. No, okay, I didn't put this, but it crushes me so much when you see the captain's son behead. This one moment where he sees that his dad is proud of him, and it's just I hate it so much. But it gives great reason for the captain to go all berserker later. But still, yeah. Awesome. So that was my classic maker. Let's go. We'll just go in reverse order. Paul, what was your classic maker?
Is one that you guys already talked about, and that's the visual style.
Oh, okay.
For me, like, what is this movie known for? It's known for its visual style, and it knocks it out of the park, and that's why it's remembered for it.
Even now, Paul, sometimes you'll watch these movies on like 8,000K with your mega screen.
That's right. The only way to watch movies.
Did this still look okay on that, or are you going to get to some of that later? Okay.
Yeah, well, I this one, it was 1080p blown up to 4K, but it still looked good. So.
Okay. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still holds up, and like I said, just that like film grain is really sharp and just like fun to look at. It's got a really unique look. But then sometimes they actually like with the practicality of just say like that cave troll. I don't even know what you would call him. You know?
Oh yeah,
the part where they fight the immortals. It's like an actual like real guy.
Yeah.
It makes it so much scarier, and they just like add this like. They mess with scale and everything like that too. And then Xerxes, I don't know if he's like a little bit just like a giant human being, or if they just like made him a little bit big. Yeah, they had to scale him up a little bit.
I thought it was like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but he's not. He's like sort of
he's the same height as Gerard Butler.
Okay. Yeah. So that's really cool how they just kind of played with that a little bit and the voice modulation and stuff. So going along with your point, Paul, and
his voice, I didn't know this, but until I listened to the commentary, the voice of Xerxes, I thought they got some other guy and they messed with his voice because it looks like it doesn't quite match the voice and the face, but it's actually that actor, and they said they just put the bass on him down just a little bit, and they messed with it, but it's the same guy.
I read they went down an octave in his voice because I heard his actual. Okay, well that's different from bass.
Yeah, voice modulation.
Yeah. But still,
even that is great.
I'm not a sound guy.
Not a scientist.
Yeah.
Back off, man. I'm a sound guy.
I know they weren't messing with the trebles that much. It was all about the bass.
All about that bass, baby.
Apparently, the actor who played Xerxes was not. He didn't go in to try out for that role.
Oh yeah,
He did so much that they made him Xerxes.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He was. I believe if I have the characters right, he is going for the captain's son that gets his head chopped off. That's who is going to be.
Okay, really?
But yeah. So you too might be Xerxes, young boy or girl, if you are trying to be a different part. Anyway, Colin, what's your classic maker?
Well, going along with that, I think everybody's perfectly cast, really. And so my classic maker by a mile is Gerard Butler as Leonidas. Yeah. I just think he's got this really captivating, like, alpha presence. You know, he's compassionate yet fierce and strong. He like conveys a wide array of emotion. You know, that's really authentic and it's effective. And just examples like his talk with Ephialtes. You know, like. Where he's kind of letting him down gently, the whole shield thing, like thigh to neck, you know, that whole thing, with respect and honor, what he was talking about before. You really feel that. And then, like you said, Francisco, where he can't kneel because he's going to get a leg cramp, you know, that's super enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
And, Butler was kind of like a relative unknown at the time.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. This was the first time I really remember him. So
so this definitely put him on the map, and so he really disappears into the role. You just see King Leonidas, you know. You don't see some movie star, and so I just think that's really important for the role. Yeah, and he carries the film with like this charisma.
Oh yeah,
that's worth following. So he's incredible in it.
Absolutely. So Classmaker was Gerard Butler. Ken.
Yep.
Was it an actor? Was it the visuals? Was it the dialogue? What did you love most about
the 300? It's something you guys haven't mentioned yet, okay?
Oh, okay.
is the cinematography.
Right.
No,
we kind of touched on that, but okay.
The visual, yes.
My best one is the hues and the colors, like you guys said.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Visually stunning movie.
It is.
I'm not about the wheat fields and the whatnot. She said that color, but also the hues in the battle and the places and everything about it. It just, the cinematography was just, you just like, all of a sudden you forget the movie's going on.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, yeah, I mean, you get lost in it, and just with that whole approach and that whole look, it's really transporting, especially for a period film, because I kind of have a rough time a little bit with period films. It just kind of feels like dudes dressed up every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they're really, really good. Gladiator, Braveheart, all that. But this is just, it's got a whole different kind of look and dynamic. So the cinematography, man, is just like really cool.
I mean, obviously, one of they tried to do is also kind of mimic what Frank Miller drew, and that's one reason why I was reading again about the trivia. Is like they also every actor was supposed to be shirtless, okay? So they had to work out. They had to be in shape because they really wanted to make it look like Frank Miller's novel. Novel, right? Yeah.
And that's awesome.
You got to look like Francisco, you know?
Yeah.
That's
totally.
the Francisco test.
I mean,
the captain sets the bar.
Wait, the bar is...
Don't ask, Ken. Don't ask.
Wow. I think, and I appreciate that level of detail that they want to match the graphic novel as opposed to someone who's just like, this is Super Mario Brothers. We'll just adapt some stuff like that to the movie we want to make. So I appreciate that as actually more care taken in making it. But yeah, that's great, Ken. I do have one more thing I did want to mention that I like, guys, and that's the soundtrack to this. I really enjoyed Tyler Bates' soundtrack. It fit really well, and
music is awesome.
It's exhausting?
No, it's awesome.
Oh, okay.
Awesome as in like really good.
Either or. We're here to pander to both.
I was exhausted at the end by how much emotion I spent.
I see. Yes, because the music really brought you in. Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah, that's just something I thought I had actually put in my likes, but I didn't put. Oh, there is one more thing I do have in my notes here that I totally forgot about, guys. I'm sorry. And that would be Junkyard Juggernauts. A warlord has taken the king and queen prisoner, and their only hope is you and the junkyard. Junkyard Juggernauts is a pixel art-infused tabletop card game for 1 to 4 players designed by Francisco Ruiz. You play as a Mageneer, drafting cards to build the arms and legs of a magic-fueled mech, aka a Juggernaut, before taking on the warlord. With an expected Kickstarter in 2024 or 25, there is still plenty of work to be done on Junkyard Juggernauts, and you can stay in the know by signing up for their newsletter at junkyardjuggernauts.com.
So, does the warlord trigger Xerxes to come take over Sparta, or what's going on here?
See, I mean, thank you for showing those bookmarks off for the visual, Ken. So, I mean, Xerxes was saying he is going to make Gerard Butler his warlord, and he'd only be under him. So it's like, we don't know this warlord in Junkyard Juggernauts if it comes from a higher evil power or whatnot. So it's kind of like that.
And where was this in the movie?
Oh yeah, this should be about the movie. Huh? Okay, Paul, that doesn't have anything to do with the movie. All right, got me on technicality.
All that stuff that Xerxes had on it was kind of like a golem. You know, it's like.
Oh yeah. He was like a junk golem with all that gold on. Yes, I agree.
Must have been in the deleted scene.
All right, Paul. Fine. How about some trivia about the movie 300? Would that be better?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we can have Fallout guy here, Ken, help us as well.
Now a Junkyard Juggernaut. So
yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Did you all realize military strategists have pointed out that the way to break the Spartan formation was to use artillery? If heavy missiles such as stones were rained on the Spartans, you might say a salvo of stones were to rain on the Spartans.
Are you a rock biter? Your saliva? What? Eating stones?
It would
Sorry.
have enabled the
makes sense.
Persians to destroy them from a distance. However, catapults were not invented for another 200 years.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, so it looks like Xerxes needed a time machine. My question to you all is, what is your favorite military weapon that came out, that was around before gunpowder was invented? So before guns.
Oh, it's got to be catapults now. They'll take out Spartans like nobody's business.
Right. All right, catapults, fair. Colin, how about you?
What about just like a giant like vat full of like tar? You know,
Sure.
like boiling tar.
Is that the kind that you light on fire later?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
All right.
I
that
mean,
works.
I'm a bow and arrow guy, or I mean, swords are cool. You know?
Yeah.
But
But you want some pitch to just like
Yeah, you
pour
can't-
on the people.
That
can't lose with the
that
tar,
is
that.
suffering right
That
there.
is.
I mean, so is catapults, but yeah,
Wow.
tar is not one way I would like to go. No,
Yeah.
sir.
All right. Ken, how about you?
Well, a long time ago.
Oh
In
my
a galaxy far,
gosh.
far away.
Well, so I would say the longbow, bow, because
Okay.
I'm a range.
Yeah.
I've always like
Uh-huh.
green. I like melee is one thing to have a sword and all, right? But
Mhm.
a bow, whether it's a longbow or short bow, something that can do range.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Don't get me in close. Get me. Like,
Keep me far away.
I don't want to get hurt.
Not ready for my close up yet.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, flaming arrows too are pretty dope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when you combine them with your tar.
Tar.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this whole thing.
Exactly. Well thought out.
Yeah, I like to light things on fire. I'm kidding.
Are you?
Where am I?
I'm just waiting for Paul to continue.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Guys, let's talk about weapons. What are we doing here?
It's been a while. Sorry. You know what? This has been great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you, Paul.
Happy 300 episodes, everybody.
You think we'd know better by now. But let's have some trivial fun and find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about 300.
All right. So Kevin Joshua Burnham starts us off by saying, I didn't watch this until 2015. Then I understood the hype and why people enjoyed it so much. Classic.
Wow. Oh. Ryan Joseph Felton says, or he left a gift that keeps becoming shaded when I click on it. I don't know why that's in there as a memory, but okay.
Because there's a gift. I think it's like supposed to be like we fight in the shade. And so you click hoping to see it, but then it's just shaded. I think it was a joke.
Oh.
Dude, have you seen the gif of Leonidas and it just says banana and then he's eating a banana, but then he says like this is Sparta, but then it's kind of like looped in a way where it looks like he's just saying no. You have to look it up, dude.
I have not seen that. Okay.
Please, anybody within earshot of this podcast. I'm glad I got to get that in there.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for whoever sent the shady gif.
Ryan. Okay, I'll take another turn then.
Yes,
Drake
do that.
Tungsten says, I've never seen it. Hard to believe it's that old already.
Whoa.
Indeed.
Time flies.
Deborah Powers says, nothing. Never saw it. Ha ha ha.
All right. And David Bobke says, I remember that I was given a DVD of 300 a while back. I put it on the shelf and it hasn't moved since. I wonder what parts of this movie you find folks wish had been left on the shelf.
Well, you know what? I think it's time to talk about that. Let's get into the things we didn't like about 300. Alice?
Worst woos.
I don't like when people post GIFs and I click on it and nothing happens. And then I think it's a joke. And then I check later and it's not.
Yes. How did you know that was my first dislike?
What does that have to do about 300? Well, see, we were reviewing this movie, the 300.
All right. I will start us off, though, with something that's kind of inane, but it bothered me. This had bad CG birds. I forget where I saw birds, but they just looked.
Those are arrows, Francisco.
No, the arrows I could tell were CG as well for a lot of
there was one part where they showed the tree of all the people on the villagers that were on the tree, and there was supposed to be birds circling. One of them, I was like, "What is that?" And then by the end of the scene, I was like, "Oh, it's a bird."
Oh, okay. No, I was noticing birds in another place. I forget exactly where, but I'm like, that's not Birdemic level bad CG, but it was not great. So bad CG birds was my first dislike. Let's go to Ken next. What's something you didn't like?
So, I mean, I didn't really need to have all the sex, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then forget the gore. But the monsters too. I'm like, really? It's like, wow, okay. I mean, it just felt like really out of place. Like this is about. I mean, I know it's historical. There's a certain amount of historical, and I know it's Frank Miller's novel, and so it's somewhat been, glamorized or whatever you want, mythologized, right?
Mythologized.
I didn't need that. I mean, I didn't need it. There was more to the story than having that. That's all.
Oh, I see.
My next dislike was that it didn't have enough monsters. I needed more. Just kidding. Okay, so
you should watch Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, fair. Well, and I'm curious, Ken, when you say monsters, do you mean like the rhinoceros, the elephants, that type of thing, or?
No, not those. I mean, there is a big troll guy came in at one point, like smash. Not the guy who was a Spartan who was cast away. He had a deformity, right? Even that
the guy fighting with the immortals that Colin was talking about.
That pleasant fellow that I was talking about earlier.
Older guy. I'm like, oh, what am I doing now? I'm not. This is not like Lord of the Rings. This is not like playing.
This is Earth, right?
Welcome to Earth.
That's a bummer because that's what I really like about this movie. Because it brings in all of that extra element to it, that kind of fantastical element, and. There's the history behind it, but then it's just like kind of leveled up for
it's a big fish story for you.
Oh yeah, I guess.
The immortals, they lift their masks and they're beasts, and so I don't know. I just kind of enjoyed that part of it. Yeah, it's Beast from X-Men.
Oh wow,
big blue guy.
Wow.
Yeah, those.
Yeah,
I could see what you're saying though, Ken. Would you have liked the movie more if it was closer to the actual history? Would that have been more appealing to you?
No, I just didn't. I mean, I thought the movie itself was fine in the overall. Those little pieces to it, I'm like, why was that there, right? I mean,
got it. Okay.
Somehow it makes it. I suppose in some respects, you hear about stories, you hear these, the histories, and they describe people as like being whatever, and you're like, that's just their perception. They it's a big, huge guy. Like Goliath was like 7-foot guy, right? I mean, it was a big, huge, monster-looking guy. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're thinking this, right? I mean, it could have very well just been a very big guy that's just found somewhere in the Empire, but it's like they made him into like an ogre golem. Like, I don't know. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk about him in a little bit, but
oh, poor guy.
Well, it's because also I didn't need the sex part of it, right? And I was like, Game of Thrones. Like,
something else I'll talk about in a little bit.
You buy for her for this movie, So
yeah. All right, but that's totally get that, Ken. Colin, what's something you didn't like about 300?
Honestly, I really had to kind of search for what I didn't like about the movie. But it's kind of a personal thing, honestly. It's just like I kind of dislike how desensitized I am to gore and stuff now.
Oh, that's fair.
It's just because back then it was this is kind of hardcore.
This was like, very bloody
man. Yeah. But then nowadays it's like, oh my god, you're watching
I'm in the same lane.
Boat.
Boat. Thank you.
We're riding the same cave troll.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like you watch The Boys or Invincible and stuff, and people are just so into that.
Or just John Wick.
John Wick, but that's kind of like a realistic-ish kind of gore,
right. So then when you see this, it's not as bad.
Yeah, well, this is heavily stylized and stuff too, but just like the Boys and all that, they really go for that, and I can't even really that's not my deal. So
yeah, me either. For that same reason, it's just like too much.
So
well, I saw the 45th anniversary of Alien in a theater.
Oh, cool!
Yeah.
Oh, you did get to go do that.
John
Awesome.
Hurt. And you're like, that was it. I mean, back then it was a lot. Today, it would have been like so like,
for sure.
Like what you're pointing about being desensitized to it,
Yeah, well, I'm wondering, like, with the new Alien coming out, that Romulus, the Evil Dead guy, is doing that one too, and I hear that movie's pretty gnarly as well. So we'll see how they're gonna do all that. But yeah, so gore didn't bother me in the least at this. In fact, I thought it was cool looking and worked. And it is pretty intense still. Legs getting chopped off and stuff, and the beheadings and whatnot. Yeah, but it's nothing crazy. So it's just more my how things have changed. Yeah.
I totally get that. Let's see, Paul, was it something about the movie you didn't like, or your experience that you didn't like, or somewhere in between?
I'll go for a personal thing here. Okay. And you, Francisco, you talked about the narration by David Winham.
Yes,
and I agree. Like during the narrative parts, it sounds great. Like he did good. The enunciation sounded good. My problem is that whenever his character was on screen and he was talking, to me his voice didn't match who I'm seeing on screen, because his voice, it sounds like an old man talking to the young warriors.
I could see what you're saying there. It didn't.
Yeah. And so whenever he's on screen, my mind is going like, wait a minute, that's like the beloved son of Walter, not this old man talking. Sorry, that was a Lord of the Rings / Fringe TV joke there.
Okay, so Denethor is known as Walter in Fringe. Is that what you were going for? Okay, thank you. But had connect the pieces. Okay, continue.
Speaking of connecting, for me, it was so disconnected. The voice and the character, I would not have been surprised if at some point he said, "This stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com."
But it was 1 year later. Wow. I mean, it was a year later he's telling the story, so maybe his voice aged in a year.
No, even throughout the whole thing, like when he's
years.
speaking to the council and everything, he still spoke. Now at the end when he starts yelling and then he gets in this like, let's get them, like it sounds a little bit more like a Lord of the Rings character than an old man.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you there. I can see what you're saying. It didn't bother me. I think just knowing his voice from Lord of the Rings and whatnot, it just matches. There isn't a disconnect for me, but I totally see what you're saying.
I've only seen the Lord of the Rings like a couple times. So like as soon as like it starts off the narration and then when he speaks, when they show his voice, like he's not an old man. What?
I remember when I first saw this, I thought it was actually Leonidas' voice. I got him confused. I got their voices confused. Yeah, I don't know why. I just thought it was he was self-narrating his story, I guess.
Were you just reading the subtitles without the sound, or
no? This is in the theater, and not in my last rewatch. I know who was who, but in my very first one, I didn't know. So
yeah. I didn't even know that was Magneto then.
Because I had to look at the credits. I was like, wait a minute, who's that voice? Like I didn't recognize the voice of the same character.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm watching on Amazon Prime and it shows me all the different descriptions of people.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Were you going to say something, Colin?
Oh, I was just wondering if he had like, what's his real voice sound like? I know it's movies. He's like
maybe that is his real voice, but to me,
his real voice. Yeah.
Like that, like was he masking an accent or something like that, or just kind of like
I don't know.
He's got to inflect for the narration.
Maybe he goes into auditions like this. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but that is mostly his voice. I feel like he may have been making it sound a little gruffer, but for the whole from what I remember of hearing him, that's his actual voice.
Yeah, you can't get as gruff as Gerard Butler though in this.
Yeah,
like honestly, like his voice in and of itself is powerful.
Yes, absolutely.
This is Sparta!
Wow, you guys.
No. Look it up, guys.
We will look it up, but we gotta get to more dislikes. Paul, what's something else you didn't like?
Oh, again. All right.
Yes.
Let me go off of what Colin was saying. When I first saw this in the theaters, this was too gory for me, and I didn't ever want to see it again. And then this came up. So this is my second time viewing it. Actually, I watched it again with the commentary after that. So this is my second and third time. And it was still a little gory for me. Not, but like Colin was saying, I'm still I was desensitized. It wasn't as much, but it still bothered me, luckily. But after now, I watched at least the second time, and after the third time, I was like, "Well, it's not that bad." I'm like, "Uh-oh, what's going on?
What's wrong with me?"
Yeah,
I mean,
but it is still a little too gory for me. And I remember at the time, people were saying, "Oh, it's stylized," and I'm like, "That's not." And they were saying like, "Oh, that's not real. What happens like in real life?" I'm like, I've never been in that situation. I don't want to be in battle where blood is spewing everywhere, and I'm watching a movie going, the blood's not hitting the wall right. Like
it is cool how it gets in slow motion, then it's focused like the depth of field on the different like blood speckles and stuff. It's pretty cool though. You gotta
I'm not a blood guy, so I'm not.
Neither am I, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not a big blood guy, but I'm thinking this is gnarly looking.
Who Will Save Generation X says that the logo is literally written in blood. I know that. It was one of the reasons why I was hesitant to go see it in the first place.
Not blood, ketchup. You know blood does, right?
Oh, right. It is ketchup. What were we thinking?
If you really look at it, the logo, I mean, as cool as it is, it's really just a smiley face with a 3 next to it. It's got the 2 zeros and then the stripe underneath it. Oh my
god. It's an early Amazon logo is what it is.
I was thinking it was the Joker smile.
Gosh. Ken, why don't we go back to you and give us 300, just one other of your dislikes.
So, I mean, it was tragic that that guy saw his son die. Okay?
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? Wait, he's hardened, Spartan. Yeah. His son's in his battle. Later on, because he apologized, like he actually loved his son. The other son was better, but he just one. It's like it's like what? Wait. Yeah. Now he's going to cry. And
he hasn't lost a son as old as him before.
This Spartan guy is going crazy. I mean, haven't you been in battle? Haven't you seen loss of brothers?
Yeah, but they weren't
people. But this one does it to you.
I don't know. I think losing your child is a different impact from losing a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were all kind of going. They were all going nuts next to the ocean. Remember when the ships were crashing?
Yeah,
and Leonidas was the only who kept his Spartan reserve, and so they have emotions.
Right.
Still.
Yeah,
and so that still rang true to me. But tying into that, it's like they didn't see that dude coming, like at all, like on the horseback,
right?
Like any of them,
Yeah.
Oh man. That's rough.
That's Snyder's fault.
I could see how that could take you out of it, Ken. How it's like this guy, he's the captain. He should be battle hardened regardless of whatever happens.
Yeah.
And then
you brought your son knowing full well this could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they already knew they were all going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, well, not really. This is before they found that the past was
compromised.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's like,
but still, they're going to battle.
Yeah. What do you expect? Did you really? Yeah, never mind.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
I get that.
Going back to I have another just like that's actually related to your first one a little bit, Ken. And that's the tall guy that's with the Immortals who has the sword that I swear isn't sharpened. It's more a club than a sword, but
a really cool cave troll guy.
Yeah. Yes, the cave troll guy. Yeah. I don't understand. Why do the Immortals have him shackled if he's on their team?
Yeah. Good question.
And then they have to release him, and he's like,
he doesn't attack them for shackling him up.
Yeah. Now, if he was just going like waylaying everyone, then okay. Then now I understand. Oh, you're keeping him as a last like a line of defense or last Hail Mary.
But maybe it's intimidation tactics.
How is that intimidating?
Because if you were if someone was coming against you and they're bringing the shackled guy out, You're like, he's even worse than these people.
I mean, I guess that's a fair
Or
point.
maybe they were just transferring him to a cell and they're trying to save the princess. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So I thought that was a little strange. I would have rather him just come from the back at the moment he would have been released.
Yeah,
he's coming in from the back, like, okay, I'm here, guys.
Yeah,
let me
that may have been too similar to the Rhino coming in. Maybe they felt that was too similar. So here's a different way to introduce him.
I
was
suppose,
expecting the guy to Andre the Unchained and start whacking on everyone.
Yeah, that would have been made a lot more sense.
Yeah,
that would have been cool, actually.
It would have been, yeah.
Turn against the Immortals.
Have one of the Immortals hanging onto the chain and he's swinging him around, like attacking everybody with it. Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still a fan of the troll.
Yeah.
He's not a troll, I don't think.
What is he then, Francisco?
Okay, I'll look it up. I'll look it up while Colin,
he's actually a 7-foot actor.
Oh, cool. Colin, give me one more thing you dislike before we get into our tragic makers.
Just some of the CG is a little dated.
Like the birds.
Like those gall darn birds.
Exactly.
Which, very similar to like Sin City. Y'all seen that movie?
Yeah.
I think that movie's
another
really
one
cool
that was a little too gory in parts for me.
I felt like that was more gory, which is weird because it was in black and white, but
it was like yellow, right?
But then they would make the blood like red, and then
Oh yeah.
But that movie rules too. But there's some kinks in the armor there a little bit. You know what I'm saying? There's the wolf in the winter cold. As cool as that scene is to me, I just feel like
the wolf's a little too stylized.
The wolf itself was a little too stylized, a little too CG, and I think it could have been even cooler and scarier if it was like a practical, animatronic effect.
Yeah.
Just in that one spot, But other than that, I get what he was going for, and so I can't hate on it too hard. Plus, 2007. So. But,
okay. Yes. So he wasn't a cave troll. He was an uber immortal (giant).
Yes.
Okay.
Played by Robert Millet. So again, he's a immortal. Why is he chained up if he's on there?
Because he's a bad boy.
And
you have to pay. You have to pay extra for him.
Wow. I am curious if it says in his bio here how much. So he's 6'10" 3/4.
Oh, Zack Snyder lied on his commentary. He said he was 7 foot. Well,
it's very close.
Yeah,
he put him in boots. He would easily be 7 foot. So
he probably has like the mind of a toddler, kind of thing. So
that's why they keep him chained.
They probably it's not. You can chain up your toddlers.
No, I'm thinking like at a theme park. You know how they have these like leashes on little toddlers. Sometimes.
Yeah, I had one of those when I was a kid. No,
so this is their toddler theme park. That's all.
Well, no, just think about it. You have to drag them along, and then you let them loose, kind of thing.
No, I don't want.
Well, it reminds me of they say about like elephants, right? Why do elephants get used? They use ropes on elephants. They can easily break it because they train them with chains at first to the point where they realize they can't ever get away.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's the same thing. They may have so tightly roped up that they couldn't get anywhere. At this point now, he's like, I'm just going to give up. I'm just. I'm just a dumb elephant.
And yet they never forget. Right.
All right. Well, now it is time to get to our tragic makers, the things we hate most about 300. So let's begin. I'm going to start things off with Ken. What did you hate most about this film?
Xerxes could not see that spear coming. Seriously?
Right.
I mean, he could, but a god doesn't flinch away.
Yeah, he's way too bougie for that, dude.
I just like he lines up like this lines up. And he's like, oh, look at that, he's throwing it at me.
It's not going as slow as it is in the film.
It hit me. Oh no, now they see my blood. I gotta hide now because I'm no longer a god. All you gotta do is go like
That spear was probably going 130 miles an hour.
I don't think someone can toss a spear that fast, but okay.
Leonidas, though. Leonidas.
Yeah, Gerard Butler
gunpowder in his biceps.
He actually had to slow it down for the filming because he can normally chuck those at 200. But
well, there you go. So Xerxes adds that. So Xerxes like, wow, really? So
okay,
yeah.
No, I could totally see that, Ken. I could totally see that. It didn't occur to me while I was watching, but you're right.
Oh, it did. I'm like, I was the same way as Ken. I'm like, all right, I got to forgive this too in order to keep watching.
I'm more like, Leonidas, how are you missing this? Sarah Mass, go for his chest. Why are you trying to go for his head?
Yeah.
Well, he's not. He's fast. He's not accurate.
1 out of 5. All right.
He was right there. I guess I'll just jump in real quick because I actually kind of just talked about my tragic maker, about the animatronic and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I just kind of wish he just, nailed him right in the chest or something.
Yeah.
Like but
I know historically that's not true.
But it is cool how he talked about like you will know, like, what is it? Even a god can bleed or something like that in the end. So at least he struck him.
Yeah.
And he'll forever have that scar.
Yep.
As long as he's around. So
exactly.
Makes him
Esther took care of it nicely.
Esther took care of it. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I got back home again.
Oh
honey, what happened to you? You got cut.
Bad day at the office. I tripped. Fell. Luckily, no one saw. No one alive. That is.
Wow. Right. So I'll go to my tragic maker next, and then we'll end with Paul's. But mine was similar to Ken's, where I felt like so I think that there was unnecessary nudity and nudity that I think actually helped the story. So here's the ones that I felt like you didn't need. I don't think you needed to see Leonidas and Queen Gorgo having sex. I'm great that they're married and doing that, but I don't need to see it.
That was their last night together.
So you can just have them start kissing and fade to black. I don't need to see the whole thing. I really don't. I know what happens. I'm radar move.
Oh, I don't.
You don't. Let me explain the birds of the beast to you. Here you go, Paul.
Man, every time the lights turn off, watch out. Francisco's things are going
on the prowl. Jeez.
What were you saying when the lights go out? I'm there?
No, you think that it's sex time.
Yes, that's what happens.
Rock, dude.
Let me turn my lights.
Watch out.
It's time to call in the brown chicken brown cow.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so that
Francisco.
and also the Oracle. I don't think you needed to see her nakedness.
I liked it.
But where I think it was actually appropriate and helped with the overall story was in Xerxes' sort of tent or whatever, with all these all this debauchery going on, because I feel like it really showed the temptation that Ephialtes or whatever it was, Ephialtes was under, and how he was just like, I'm just going to give into my flesh. I don't care about honor. I don't care about where I came from. I'm going to kiss the boot, so to speak, of Xerxes, because I rather just
Sandal.
the sandal, exactly. I'd rather have the world's delights than anything more virtuous. So I thought that was appropriate for that, because that's what you're saying.
Because there's no sex going on.
I mean, there's kind of sex stuff going on, but it's not.
All implied. Yeah,
it showed the debauchery of what he's willing to go for.
Exactly. So I thought that was in a way appropriate, even though I didn't want it to be there, but I thought it made sense.
Sometimes, but not others.
What was that, Paul?
It's okay sometimes, but not others. It just reminds me of Rahab, and then
how it advances the story,
Do what?
I get how it advances the story.
Advances the story. I don't think it's made. Unfortunately, I think it's going to titillate some people, but I think it's their main. I think there's a good reason for it to be there. So that's all. Yeah. That's why.
Can I talk about that real quick too?
Sure.
Yeah. We can edit it out later. But
please,
not on Ken's score.
Yeah. No, I get what you guys are saying, and to me, I feel like it all kind of works. I don't know. It's got a provocative nature to it, but then at the same time, I think it kind of works because it carries the relationship. Like, just say we're talking about the scene between Leonidas and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at that. It's actually pretty tastefully done. You know, nothing crazy is happening or anything like that too, you know, and then
well, it's happening off camera.
What do you mean?
Some crazy stuff is happening off camera.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Francisco, you know what we're talking about, right?
I would if it fades to black, but no, it's right there in the open.
Oh yeah. Because you got to have the lights off. And then,
Exactly.
as soon as the lights are off, you know. Okay. Anyway, happy 300 episodes, everybody. All right.
Wow.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Oh, he's out of here.
Hey, the lights went out there.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just saying it carries the relationship, you know, without them being together. You know, there carries that bond between the two. Like, to me.
I mean,
and the love that he has for her and her to him. And so it makes that part between her and the other dude kind of like it feel like, you know, feel a little bit too raw, you know.
Yeah,
like,
it's more of
not be over quickly kind of thing.
Yeah.
I hate. Thank you for bringing that up because I forgot how much I hate that part so much.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. And
it
then,
is,
you know, and then his end is well justified.
Yes, yes. I love how she turns it around on him.
It faded to black there, and you're okay with that, right?
I'm not okay with the setup, but I'm okay that it faded to black there.
Jeez,
yes.
you can't please this guy.
Oh my God.
Even after 300 episodes.
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah, and then in the end when he's about to die and he's yelling for his queen, you know, it's just like you get it, you know.
Yeah,
and
it helps.
I feel like laying that groundwork there.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point.
I mean, okay, yes, I think it makes sense. But I feel like you get a similar type of thing in Lord of the Rings between Aragorn and Eowyn, and you just see them through flashbacks and whatnot. You don't see anything.
No, but I get his point because she basically allowed that guy to rape her, okay, for the thing, and so like the nothingness of it versus the sensuality and the whole
the fullness.
This guy, you know, the multiple. Yeah. I get the point.
I mean.
But that doesn't mean that you.
It doesn't mean I need to see it.
I need to see it. You're right. I get the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did need to see it. That's what I'm trying to get to. But it was tastefully filmed though too. To me, you know,
I suppose
to see the
there's a little nudity
of the characters. They could have shown the idea that they had made love, you know, without. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, because there's something about nakedness on screen. You can't. That is real. You can't until we get.
Until later. Okay.
For now, and in 2007, it's real. You actually have to be naked as opposed to like having patsies or whatever, and just having it shot so it just looks like it. But anyway,
well, that's why I made a comment that in Game of Thrones they use a body double for her. And yet,
well, then the body double's in the same situation, so I don't feel like that makes it any better. But anyway, we've spent long enough on this. Let's
talk about it if you want.
Let's bring the lights back up. And Paul, what's your tragic maker for 300?
You?
I said Paul.
Oh, okay.
What's your tragic maker for 300?
So I went about it this direction. How to choose my tragic maker is what is the one thing that would prevent me from watching it the most? Like what keeps me from watching? Like why wouldn't I watch this? And the second time that I watched it was going to be like, well, this is too gory for me. But after the third time I watched it, unfortunately, that's no longer my tragic maker.
So you watched it twice for the pod?
Yes, once to watch it, like to get my likes, and then watch it again with commentary to get some background and to get more of a feel of the film.
Yeah.
But the thing that would prevent me from watching again is, they all die in the end. And like I mentioned, that's a good thing. Like it's a good reminder that freedom isn't free, but it prevents me from not wanting to put it on anytime soon. Like, do I really want to sit through this? And they all die in the end, kind of thing.
Old man Wenham survives at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He went out, and then their numbers are multiplied, because of their story and their bravery, and prepare for glory, and
right. But I don't follow those massive numbers for 2 hours. I'm following these people.
Yeah. So I know, and that goes to like how great the bonding and everything like that.
Right. So I don't want to necessarily sit through that again.
So you don't want to see Rogue One.
Spoilers then, I mean Rogue One, but I was going to say spoilers for movies we haven't covered and could cover, Gladiator and Braveheart. Do the ends of those movies do the same for you, Paul, or it's been too long since you've seen them? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would definitely put that in the same category.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I get how sometimes you just want things everyone that's good to live, everyone that's bad to die.
Yeah, oftentimes I watch movies, I'll be honest, it's for escapism. So, and I want to go to a good place and not, get away from like the sad parts of life.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's
fair enough.
All right. Yep. Well, we're going to find out if the rain for 300 is a sad part of our lives. Let's get to our final rain. Alice?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo armed and ready to fire on your mark.
All right. We've done it for 300 times, and we're doing it again. Or I guess this is the 300. We've done it for 299 times, and here's the 300th. Do we rate the movie 300 a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see it, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, we'd recommend, if you saw it, hopefully not as a child, but you saw it in the past and it's been a while. Definitely, it's worth your time to watch again. But if you've never seen it, go watch something else. Or do we rate it a tragic? It's not worth anyone's time. If you've seen it before, don't watch it again because it'll sully those good memories you have of it. And if you've never seen it before, just pass it on by. All right, let's start with our guests. We'll start with Ken first. Well, you had predicted classic, but what was your final rating for 300?
My final rating was nostalgic.
Oh, really? Okay, so it went down.
I was expecting something more with after all these years, with the memes, the clips, the stories. I was literally getting bored waiting for them to die.
Oh, wow. What? Really?
Like, I knew the ending. I knew they were going to die.
That's a hot take, dude.
You guys dead yet? Really? More?
Boring.
Holy smokes.
More? So nostalgic. Again, if you've already seen this movie, go see it again.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. Okay. But if you've never seen it before, unless you really want someone who likes to know history or you want to get like Frank Miller type of stuff, go see it. But otherwise, I don't think it's worth the time.
Okay. All right. There's a nostalgic from Ken.
So that sounds more like a tragic than a nostalgic.
No, more nostalgic. If you've seen it before, go see it again. I think it's worth seeing it again if you already saw it before.
All right. Okay. Colin, you had predicted classic. Did your rating drop like Ken's, or did it stay the same?
I was looking at it through a pretty, critical eye. It's been a long time since I've seen it and everything like that as well. But I was expecting it to be good because I remember it, rocking back in the day. And man, I was really surprised. And I've seen a lot of films and everything like that between then and now. And man, just to me, it really holds up still. And despite its flaws, and Gerard Butler just really gives that really memorable performance that's become a personal favorite of mine.
Oh, wow.
So I saw the Dawn of the Dead remake just recently too. Like as we were talking about Zack Snyder and stuff. I remember that being better than it was, too. The intro to that's great. The warehouse scene with Batman versus Superman is iconic. But this is 300's the warehouse scene. I'm not talking the movie Batman versus Superman.
Fine. Why'd you say that name? That's my mom. That's my mom's name. Don't say her name.
Yeah, there are parts of that movie that are cool though. But 300 to me is by far Zack Snyder's best film. And so I would agree with classic.
Even more than so, I think Watchmen's pretty good, but I feel
Watchmen is good too.
I feel like this is punchier than.
He hasn't said the word yet, so he meant nostalgic, right? You didn't say classic.
Did you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. What was your rating, Colin?
Oh, I'm going classic for
classic.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I thought that was understood.
Yeah. No.
I was just wanted to hear you say the words nostalgic.
Yeah. Good call out. Good call out.
Yeah. Well, I was just surprised at how riveted I was and moved at the end because Paul, I know what you were talking about. Like you don't want to see them die because you care about them, but then at the end you understand their cause, and then you see how things have moved on. Since then with more troops, and I just think it's powerful. So
it is.
It all kind of blends together really nicely with the acting and the action and Frank Miller's original story. So. Classic.
Have you read Frank Miller's? Have you?
No,
or at least
haven't.
skimmed through it as an artist.
I've seen frames of it. It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta pick it up.
Not.
You haven't?
Yeah.
No.
It's really cool.
All right. So we have a nostalgic and a classic. Paul, what is you had predicted nostalgic. What's your final rating?
I agree with first of all, I'll just say nostalgic.
Okay.
But I disagree with Ken that I think it does hold up.
Okay.
But for me, it's okay. There was a time I was helping out a college group, and the pastor was like, "Okay, let's do a guys' night. What movies are should we include for like a guys' night?" Yeah. And he said, like, "Okay, we got Braveheart. What else?" This is definitely a movie that would be like in a guys' night kind of a thing.
Yeah, that.
So if that's what you're into, like that's what you want, then I would recommend it. This would be classic, like it definitely in that wheelhouse. But for me, I read it nostalgic because this is not everybody's cup of tea. It's not gonna. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to recommend that you go out and put it on your list. I think.
But what if like action movies and stuff are your vibe? What if like
then I would recommend it. Yeah. But like if you're totally into rom-coms and stuff,
right? I wouldn't necessarily recommend this to my wife or anything like that.
Right,
so it's not really your jam.
Right. So and for me, like it still bothered me, like the gore a little bit and such. And so just for me, it's nostalgic, but it's a high nostalgic. If that.
All right.
I will go with that. I'll give you that. I'll give you a nostalgic plus. High nostalgic. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We have 3 ratings. We're not going to increase it to other things, guys.
Yeah. I wouldn't. That's the thing. It's like I wouldn't call it like a classic, like the Iron Giant. That first episode. That I was on with
nostalgic classic. Sorry, I'm going off, riffing off of past people doing
He's
stuff.
Traumatized, folks.
I can see that.
From the past.
I can see that. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. It's really, really good, but there are some kind of glaring flaws. It's not like the Iron Giant, that first episode I was on with you guys, where I literally couldn't find anything I didn't like about the movie.
Okay.
And I didn't have to look hard here, but yeah, I get you. It's like I would still consider it really great.
Right. And so I don't see, like, I totally understand you rating a classic. Makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, nostalgic plus, he's classic minus. Okay.
I would just say like classic, like just say like just right there in the middle. Yeah. Like classic plus is like.
See, Paul, this is why we had classic and second class to begin with, just a pass or fail system.
Right.
But now we have all these gradations.
But you know what? Everybody, including you, thinks it's better with the 3.
My high school on a 12-point scale. Okay, 12-point scale. I got a 10 GPA.
I'm gonna go with the gray grading scale of 256 here. So let's go.
I'm just saying, if they didn't have so many of those weird CG birds in there, it would have been even higher.
Let me get to my rating, guys.
Oh, okay.
I had predicted
waiting on you, man.
Classic, and I still rate this a classic. I really enjoy watching it. I love the stylization of it. I enjoy the theme of, going up against unstoppable odds and actually winning until you're betrayed by the dude. Yeah. I hate that so much. just I love that these men have this connection for each other, that they're willing to die for each other, that they're not scared of death. I don't know. I like so much about it, and I feel like it's filmed so well. So classic for me. Unfortunately, because none of our reflux capacitors have either seen this or voted on it.
I just did.
Oh, does that count? Because I can vote too.
Oh my gosh, guys! I see no votes. I'm. Oh, you mean in the podcast you just voted?
Yeah.
That counts as your vote here, not on locals. No. So unfortunately, we have a tie. And I don't. This poll has been up for like a couple weeks now, so I don't foresee that changing. So let's see. Maybe it's a captain's choice.
I may go local,
or maybe we'll just roll.
It's the 300th episode, man. It's your call.
Hey, did your queen watch it with you?
No, she didn't.
Oh,
retro.
You know what? I will.
Okay. There you go.
It doesn't count, Ken. You can't do. You already voted here. So here's what I'll do. We'll have till I actually edit this. And we'll find out. You'll find out, Rewinders of the Future, if Ashley ends up watching this, if I get her to watch it, so she can be the tiebreaker, or if anyone here listening signs up for locals, retrorewindpodcast.com/support, or does anything to go and vote on the post for 300. If one of those things happen before I edit, then we'll have a final reign. Otherwise, this will just be a draw to start the 300s
in a while.
Yeah, exactly. So,
come on, just give it a rating, dude. You got to.
It is I, Francisco, from the future, and we got some votes in last minute for 300. So, because of you awesome reflux capacitors, we who rated collectively 300 a classic. Together, the Retro Rewind podcast rates the movie 300 a disputed classic film. We'd recommend anyone go see it, whether or not they've seen it before. Now back to the guys from the past. But
boys' night out, definitely go see it.
Yeah,
there you go. But now it's time
past the nudity
to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX.
Calm sat online. Awaiting incoming transmissions.
Yeah, because we're on the pod 2.0 now. Things are fixed.
We did? Oh,
yes, just the story hasn't come out yet or been made. So anyway, it feels good to be back. But we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 2006 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors who need to go vote. Namely, Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Ruiz, Kenneth N. Oh, you're right here. Woo! Fabulous Lomax, That's Our Bobo, D. Tungsten, Dale, Mr. Lost, Daryl Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Dustin, Redeemed Otaku, and in addition to 2 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start.
Say, Francisco, are there any non-monetary ways to show support for this stream of ours?
Oh, well, actually, there are. If you probably enjoyed this episode if you made it this far. So if you aren't driving, tap the share icon in your podcast player for this episode and send it to a friend saying, I know you like 300. And they may be like, 300 what? No, the movie 300. And they're like, oh, okay. I know you like the movie 300, so I thought you might like this.
Photoshopped half-naked men going across the screen.
On it.
Sorry. All right, cool. And I'll bet they'll thank you for it. And speaking of thanking people, we want to give a big
Spartan hug
yes, to Colin and Ken for supporting us with their thoughts about 300.
Mm-hmm.
And since I like... Thank you. And since I like to go alphabetical order, let's start with Colin. Actually, art by Colin. Give you the A for that.
Wow.
Okay.
Tell people where they can find you online. Is there anything cool you got going on that they should check out?
Yeah. You can check out my website, artbycolin.com. That's Colin with 2 L's. My full portfolio is on there. artbycolin.bigcartel.com is my shop. You can buy artwork and stuff like that on there. And you can follow me on Instagram at artbycolin. And I do artwork with Gallery 1988 and for August Burns Red and a metal band. And, among other things. And I think the main thing that I want to talk about, I love those guys. They're worth it. The main thing I want to talk about is just the new art show that I've got coming up called Portrait of X. Francisco, you've got a couple X-Men pieces from this series. I don't know if you guys heard of the X-Men. They're kind of a cool ragtag group of...
Are those unwanted mutants that are hiding out up north in that school?
Comics for decades.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. So I've got a series based off of that called Portrait of X, and I wanted to kind of expand that to like a group art show. And I'll be doing that this summer. So Portrait of X Danger Room, a 90s X-Men art show. And
I love it. Where can people find that at?
Yeah, so I handpicked 19 other artists, and so it'll be 20 total, myself included. I'll be contributing for my series. And it'll be at Four Corners Brewing in Dallas, Texas. So we'll be setting up there July 20th, and it'll be up for a month.
Oh, how fun.
Can you increase it by about... What was that, Ken?
I'm looking at his website right now. I don't see a link or mention of this particular thing.
Yeah, so it's you can check it out on my Instagram. I have at the very top pinned links and
in his bio
information on there. You could see the whole rundown of all the artists and everybody on there, links to their sites and everything as well. They are top notch, man. I'm very honored to be able to lead this charge. So
can you find 280 more artists so we can have 300 and really synergize with this episode?
Yeah, I mean, we could see how this one goes first with a 20, but then we can really kind of stack it up after.
Are you looking?
Oh, there it is.
Are you hoping that he'll find some pixel artists and maybe pick you, Francisco?
Please pick me, Colin. No, but thank you, Colin, so much for being on the show. And that sounds like an awesome art show.
Yeah, it should be a good time.
And Ken. Hey, Ken.
I'm busy.
He's too busy looking at Colin's art.
Yeah, I want to see if I'm going to buy something. I tend to be a guy who likes art, So I always go to Comic-Con.
I will say real quick that every time when we have guests over and mention that I know you, Colin, the person who made the Back to the Future poster you gifted us. They're always like, "Whoa, you know who that is? You know him, the artist? That's amazing." So
that's sweet. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. All right. Ken.
Ken. So I'm a aeronautical engineer by day, streamer gamer by night, Christian 24/7. So I have a Twitch stream, a channel called Kennethan. So you can always find me out there doing either talk shows or games, whatnot. That's all I got going, So yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Keep it up.
Thank you guys.
I'm not an artist. Sorry, I'm an engineer. I can model stuff.
We need those too.
That's an art in itself.
Exactly.
I know it is. But I can't do the art you guys do. I have daughters who do art, and I'm amazing with that. But yeah.
Well, you're really high. You're much higher ranked on the ship than I am for sure. I'm still like at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know how long it took for them to find my pod? After they abandoned ship and all. Gee whiz.
Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't art. That's Jared's fault.
Anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Colin and Ken, and my awesome, not really a Spartan, but I'll say Spartan friend Paul, and all you rewinders, new and old, for another fun voyage. We also want to thank Alutrick for enhancing our music. Find him at alutrick.bandcamp.com or youtube.com/@Alutrick. That's spelled ALLOOUTRICK, then the number 8266 for the YouTube. So thank you so much to him.
So this one time at Bandcamp, I think I saw Alutrick there. It was the .com. Anyway, you can find me, pauljpowers.com. Guess where you can find me?
pauljpowers.org?
No, .com.
Ah, dang it. So close. And you can find me on our Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord and keep tabs on the board game I'm designing at junkyardjuggernauts.com.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
And as the new half-naked Oracle just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. Find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media.
Thank you, EXO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for big business, the next episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to base to await next mission.
Spartans! R-O-W-E, that's the way we spell rowdy. Let's get rowdy! Woo! U-G-L-Y, you ain't got no alibi, you're ugly. You're ugly. Woo! Hey! Who's that Spartan in my TP?
It's me.
Well, then who's that Spartan in my TP?
It's me.
Is it done now?
This is the best.